You are listening to Forged Among Stars, a solo RPG actual play podcast presented by DiceGeeks.com. Welcome. My name is Matt Davids. I will be your game master and only player during this season of Forged Among Stars. I am a tabletop RPG writer, game designer, as well as a novelist. I thank you so much for joining me as I play through Ironsworn Starforged, a tabletop RPG designed by Shawn Tomkin. If you would like to learn more about me or the game, please check for links in the description wherever you are listening to this podcast. Now, it is time to journey among the stars. The Shard of the Sun skips through the drift. It is a cobbled together, odd-looking ship that only a mother could love. Inside, Hawking Duval sits at the control panel in the cockpit. He makes a point not to stare at the multicolor kaleidoscoping that is going on out the viewport, but he keeps his eyes down at the control panel, checking gauges and sensors and readouts. And then there is a small, still voice inside of his head. "You're anxious." Hawking Duval takes a deep breath. Yes, I'm anxious." "Why?" the voice continued. "Because you haven't seen people in a long time?" Hawking Duval scratches his head, pushes back in his chair. "Yes, Monarch. Yes, it's been a long time since I've seen people. I miss talking to people. Do you understand?" "Yes, although not entirely." "You can talk to me." Hawking Duval took another deep breath, rubbed his eyes. "I'm sorry, Monarch, you just aren't people." "Well, that's nonsense." Sure it is. Sure it is, Monarch. I was known as quite the conversationalist some time ago." Hawking Duval shook his head, the voice ringing slightly in his ears. "And how long ago was that, Monarch?" "You wouldn't understand." Yes, I wouldn't understand. Yes, I know. And this is what I'm talking about. I have not talked to people in a long time. You are in my head. I don't even understand you. You won't even tell me who you are, what you really were. All you say is that the closest thing you have to a name is Monarch. What were you the monarch of? Now, Hawking. I cannot say. Of course. You can't say. I understand. No, I don't understand. Hawking, please don't get upset. You will learn many things, all at the right time. Hawking again realized that he was rubbing his eyes for about the third time, shook it off a bit, looked back to his scopes. Well, here we are, dropping out. The Shard of the Sun dropped out of the drift, and before them, a planet, an emerald in space with swirling clouds and great streaks of vibrant green. And there in orbit, a tiny platform, a station, bristling with cannons from one end to the other. All right, well, we've arrived, Monarch. Paragon Station. No response from Monarch this time. He had gone silent, like he always did, at crucial moments, or so it seemed. But Hawking was probably just still anxious and a bit on edge. Finally, he would be back to doing something that he loved. Hawking eyed the station and wondered what awaited him there. He reached up to the console above his head and brought down the clunky, kind of old-style microphone from its cradle, slid the button, and spoke into it. "Shard of the Sun to Paragon Station." He waited. What would he hear? "Paragon Station to Shard of the Sun.
We have you. Please give the authorization code word.
Hawking prepared himself and said, "Jester." The voice on the comm came back.
Code word Jester. Received and acknowledged. Prepare for docking. Move to 28.3.
Understood, Paragon Station. Moving to 28.3. Hawking made slight adjustments to the controls, flipping large giant switches. Hawking wrapped the cable of the hanging microphone back up on a hook and then slid the microphone into its cradle. He looked back at the controls and made a few more adjustments. Soon, he would be face to face with his employer and hopefully some new friends. Hopefully that little bit of fiction there set the stage. As we have determined in our session 0, our hero, Hawking Duval, is arriving at Paragon Station. And this is where we are going to start our campaign. Now, how I'm working this in the game is that I am figuring that Hawking has put out some feelers, that he will do some freelance kind of conflict resolution because of his history as a diplomat. And this is the way he is going to make some money and support himself while he is now looking into ancient knowledge and trying to collect that information so he can fulfill his background vow, building and creating an entirely new clan. A very foolhardy goal, I think. I will try to weave in narration as well as actual play and me rolling the dice. Hopefully, as I get more experience with these sessions, I will find a very good rhythm and between the two so I can make this story as full as possible for all of you listeners. So the Shard of the Sun has docked with Paragon Station, and Hawking Duval steps into the airlock. There's a hiss and noise and machines clanking and all manner of processes are happening as the station and Shard of the Sun come together, and the door opens in front of him, and he is greeted by a young woman. And she says, "You must be Jester." Hawking nods and says, "Yes, I am." "Would you be Buzzard?" She shakes her head emphatically and with a smile, No. I'm Dancer. Follow me. We'll meet Buzzard right now." Dancer leads him through claustrophobic halls with tubes and wires hanging just above their heads and equipment and nodes sticking out of the wall that sometimes you have to turn sideways to walk past. And through this winding hallway of industrial equipment, eventually they come out into kind of a command center. And here, Hawking sees 3 more women working various stations at different control panels about the command center. The one sitting on the highest elevated chair with the largest view screen looks up, and she stands. She is wearing full body armor, very imposing figure. And she says, "You're right on time. I like that." Hawking nods to her. "You must be Buzzard." "That's right, I am. I hope you can help us with our little problem." Hawking finished his look around, noticed eyes upon him from the other ladies. He looked back to Buzzard. "I'm sure I can help. Your message said that you needed a negotiator because there was a payment dispute." Buzzard nods. "Yes, that's right. You came highly recommended." Hawking was a bit surprised. He had negotiated some deals, but highly recommended? Interesting. Well, I'll do what I can. Is the other party here? Should we start, or do we have time? Our friend, who we are having a bit of a disagreement with, is on schedule to arrive tomorrow morning. Hawking nodded slowly. Good. Some time to prepare. Until then, we don't have much hospitality to offer. Hawking responded quickly. Oh no, that's completely understandable. However, I would enjoy sharing a meal with you all. Oh, he probably shouldn't have blurted that out. Buzzer smiled slightly. Some of the other ladies looked around. Been in the drifts a while. Hawking knew he couldn't hide it. Yeah, I have. It's been a while since I talked to somebody. Kind of lonely out here. Buzzard looked at his eyes. Yes, I know. Very lonely. All right, I think I am going to try my first roll. I'm going to try to develop my relationship with Buzzard and see. It's kind of funny saying it over and over again, but it is a pretty cool call sign. I'm going to develop my relationship, so I'm going to look for a move and make a roll. So develop your relationship is a move within the mechanics of the game. I'm not sure exactly if this is the context in which I should do that, but I think the moment, I don't know if it's dramatic enough, I guess that's what I mean, but I want to make a move so I can practice the mechanics of the game, and also I kind of want to see where this will take us narratively as I'm starting to create this story. So I am going to roll, develop your relationship. Now, what a roll is that you roll 2 10-sided dice plus 1 6-sided die. The 10-sided dice are challenge dice. These basically set your difficulty number. The action die will be modified with stats or any other modifiers that my character provides me. Whether or not I beat one or both of those challenge dice will let me know if I've gotten a strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss. So I am going to roll develop your relationship with Brianna Keelan, Buzzard, the oppressive leader of Paragon Station. And I'm a moron. It doesn't look like you have to roll on develop your relationship unless you share a bond. And I do not do that. Hawking does not share a bond with Buzzard. So it looks like you just mark progress on the connection. So what I will do is in my connection bar, you have 10 progress bars that we are trying to fill in to see how we can build this relationship here. So I had marked troublesome. If we just shared a moment about being lonely out in space, then I just mark 3 whole boxes on my bond with Brianna Keelan Buzzard. So now with kind of a little bit more progress on that relationship, Brianna just lets him know that they can share several meals together until the representative of the other side of the conflict arrives at the station tomorrow. And so how I'm going to do this, just really quickly, is we will kind of imagine a lunch and a dinner and maybe even then a breakfast where Hawking is joining the ladies of Paragon Station and they're talking. And what I think Hawking would do, he is a man who leads with his heart. Relationships are important to Hawking. So what Hawking is going to do over, say, 3 meals, say a lunch, a dinner, and then a breakfast before they start these negotiations, he is going to try to make a connection with the other 3 people who man the station here with Buzzard. I just think it fits his character. I think it makes a lot of sense. So first, now I know I'll get this right now, but to make these connections, I will have to roll. But before I roll, I want to get a little information on some of these other people, these employees of Brianna Keelan Buzzard. The first person, her name is Echo Carr. Her call sign is Dancer. She is slight and flashy, and her disposition is desperate. So I don't know how that's going to come into play, but she's slight, she's flashy, she's called Dancer. Her name is Echo Carr. The next person is Zari Darwin. Her call sign is Wraith, and she is attractive and youthful, and her disposition is helpful. The next member of the Buzzard's crew here is Zoya Volkov. Her call sign is Zephyr. She is alluring and concealed, and I'm thinking to kind of interpret concealed, I think she's wearing some kind of scarf or veil that has some type of religious significance, and you can see her eyes kind of through there, and maybe some of her hair is exposed as well, and that would be the alluring part, I guess. And her disposition is indifferent. So I'm going to envision these meals just kind of with broad strokes. So Hawking sits down with the crew of Paragon Station, and they have small talk. They ask about if he's heard any news. He asks them for news. Since information is slow in space, I think people are always fascinated and interested in wanting to hear news. Sadly, Hawking doesn't have a lot to share. Sadly for him, the crew of Paragon Station doesn't have a lot to share. But he is just enjoying this time that he is meeting with these people. And now I will roll for some connections. I will roll first for Echo Carr, call sign Dancer, and we'll see if Hawking is able to make a connection with her. All right, for our connection with Dancer, I have rolled a strong hit. So that means I make a connection, and I'm going to assign that connection a rank and a role. And then I will get some benefits connected to their role whenever I act in that capacity. I think Dancer, if Brianna's troublesome, I'm just going to go ahead and make Dancer's connection troublesome as well. And as for the role, okay, well, I rolled on the character roll table in the PDF. I got roll twice because I rolled a 100. So I have just rolled Lawkeeper and Mercenary for our connection of Dancer. I don't know if that fits exactly right, but I mean, that's part of the beauty of a random table, so I'm just going to kind of keep those there. We've established we have an order of keepers. I don't know if she would be a keeper per se because she's also a mercenary. Perhaps she is just a mercenary who is sometimes here to keep the peace, or maybe they work tangentially sometimes with the keepers, or if the keepers aren't present, people will hire mercenaries to kind of just keep the peace, or lawkeeper in like quotation marks, just like saying, hey, don't tread on me kind of thing. Kind of like, hey, I have a personal mercenary right here. Don't be doing anything crazy, okay? I don't know. We'll kind of go with it right now. If I think of something better that maybe fits her call sign or her description as being slight and flashy, and then her disposition as desperate, maybe I'll change it, or maybe I'll just keep it and see what kind of cool thing I can do here in the narrative. All right, so I'll roll for the next person to try to make a connection. This person is Zari Darwin. Her call sign is Wraith. She is attractive and youthful. Her disposition is helpful. So I am going to roll here, and I got a weak hit. So this means that I do create a connection, but it comes with a complication or cost. And then the rules say envision what they reveal or demand. So let me think about this. Well, right now I can't think of a great demand or complication. I think what I'll do on this, instead of giving her the rank of troublesome, I will go ahead and just up that. And I will give her the rank of dangerous for some reason. So it is going to be harder to form a bond with Zari Darwin. And even though she is helpful, perhaps that is why she is called Wraith. All right, the next person is Zola Volkov. Her call sign is Zephyr. She is alluring and concealed and indifferent. So let's see if I can make a connection with her. Yes, strong hit. So I will go ahead and record that we have a connection, and I will get her a role assigned as well as a rank. I think I'll just go ahead and mark her troublesome as well. Nothing too shady or anything is happening here, nothing too serious either, so we're just kind of making friends, and we'll see where it goes in the fiction later on. Well, now, actually, after consulting the oracles for roles, things have become a bit more clear to me. I'm going to retcon a little bit and change up a few things. Instead of Dancer being a lawkeeper and mercenary, I'm going to take those away from her. And I am going to put those on Zari Darwin. For the other characters, I rolled an entertainer. So I'm going to take entertainer, and then I'm going to put that on Echo Car or Dancer. I think that fits very, very well. It did not seem to fit with Zari Darwin. So I've just switched their roles because I think they fit their names and their characters a little bit better. Echo Car is called Dancer. She is slight and flashy, so it makes sense that she is an entertainer. Zari Darwin, we had to move her relationship rank to dangerous, so she's a lawkeeper mercenary, so something there either in her past or in her job makes her a bit more complicated. Now for Zola Volkov's or Zephyr's role, I rolled a 94 on the character role oracle, and that told me to roll on the action plus a theme tables. So I went over there to those oracles and I asked them, and I got guard and weakness. So I don't know how I'm going to reconcile those, but this is really making me use my imagination, and I'm really having fun with this. So I'm not going to change anything. I've already changed a couple things just to make them fit the fiction a little bit better. We are learning that Buzzard here, that Brianna Keelan keeps a very strange crew. I don't know what their jobs are here on the station. Echo Car is an entertainer. Zari Darwin is a mercenary and lawkeeper. And now Zola Volkov is guard and then weakness. So I'm going to have to think about that role. Of course, I guess that, this is the future. We can just have everybody who can kind of fill multiple roles, right? That was the Star Trek The Next Generation kind of idea. I really like that because I think you would need some salvagers, and I could pick that for one of them. But I think having different roles and having already Buzzard with the salvager role is good enough. So I'm just going to kind of see where these take us. The guard and the weakness one, though, for Zola Volkov, I'm going to have to think about that one and see what I can come up with. So, as I mentioned, over kind of a lunch and a dinner and then a breakfast, Hawking and the crew here of Paragon Station talk and share some moments. I won't develop the relationship with Brianna again, because I don't think anything too profound would happen. Maybe she is kind of in and out, has a lot of station business to deal with. So right after breakfast, though, as everyone is finishing up, an alert goes off in the little mess area, and let's say it is Zephyr who hops up from the table and says, "Oh, looks like our friends have arrived. And she runs out of the room to the command center. And so everybody kind of cleans up a little quickly. Hawking helps straighten things and get everything ready because we're going to host our negotiations here in the mess hall because everything is crowded and cramped, let's say. And there are some rooms that could be used as meeting rooms, but they are filled with storage and all kinds of, just boxes and salvage and everything. So after they get everything cleaned up, Buzzard takes Hawking with her, and they go to a different airlock. And as they're standing there, Brianna, Buzzard, Keelan looks at Hawking and says, I really hope you can help me resolve this dispute. The job was a big one, and I really need this payment. And Hawking looks back and says, yes, I will help you. And he reaches into his shirt collar and he pulls out the chain and he pulls out this piece of a very, very ancient ship. Just a small little sliver on the end of his simple chain. And he says, I swear it. I will resolve this conflict. So we have made an iron vow. Let me check the rules for this. Okay, so I will be rolling +1. So this is heart +1 because Buzzard is a connection. And so let's see what comes up on the dice. Okay, good. A strong hit. So what the rules say here is on a strong hit, you are emboldened and it is clear what you must do next. Take +2 to momentum. So this is great. So I'm going to add +2 to my momentum. That brings me up to a +4. Plus, I have sworn an iron vow to a connection. So this means I develop our relationship. So I get to check 3 boxes on Buzzard's relationship track. All right, that puts us up to 6 out of 10 for our relationship with Buzzard. This is really good. So now Buzzard and Jester are standing here at the airlock doorway. The door opens and reveals a man dressed in work clothes, but kind of a little nicer work clothes, if you know what I mean. They have the appearance of being work clothes, but they're a little too nice, kind of like the difference between a handyman on TV and a handyman in real life, if you get the idea. So he gives the air of an everyday workman, but he is a little bit better off than your average worker. His name is Merrick Frost, and his call sign is Razor. He steps on board the Paragon station. He looks to Buzzard and says, "Permission to come aboard." And she says, "Of course, Razor, of course." He then looks at Hawking Duval, looks him up and down, and says, "Well, this must be the one they call Jester, and you are going to settle our dispute. Is that right?" Hawking kind of takes him in. He assesses this man in front of him as well, and he says, "Yes, I am here to settle the dispute." Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Forged Among Stars. Please consider subscribing to the podcast wherever you are listening to it so you never miss an episode. Another episode will be out soon, but until then, I will see you among the stars.